Hey everyone, welcome to Pure Hustle Podcast. My name is Mike.
This is Orlando, and we're here now for episode 4.
Episode number 4, man.
Moving forward.
Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the previous 3 episodes, and we've got a lot more coming, so keep listening.
Yeah, and hey, thanks to all of you who have started, putting some like and subscribing to us on Instagram and Facebook and all the social platforms. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, these episodes are coming out once a week, but we're constantly uploading stuff onto social media. So whether it's things we're finding while we're out shopping, some tips we're noticing. So yeah, make sure you're following us. There's a lot of information you're going to miss if you're not following us.
Yeah, so I appreciate it. A lot of knowledge you all have shared with us has been great. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
All right, so a few things we want to catch up from our last episode. Well, not the last episode, but the last catch-up episode, right? So we have one episode where we kind of talk about how things have been, and then we sometimes delve into topics. So our last one was we were delving into ideas of research. But 2 episodes before that, our very first episode, we kind of ended that episode and we were talking about what we're going to do next and what we were looking forward to. And you had mentioned something about garage sales and you were looking forward to haggling.
Oh man, it was great. I finally got to get out to some garage sales. I mean, I've been hitting thrift stores pretty hard, which is great, but man, garage sales are amazing. So I've done a few. In fact, like I think it was last weekend, I went to I think like 35 houses.
That's legit.
And
35 houses?
And it wasn't all community sales. Like there was one community sale that had like 10 houses, but I mean, I was driving house to house to house and yeah, doing the haggle thing. It was awesome.
Now, it's interesting because both of us went to garage sales that morning, but
Yep.
I guess we went to different parts.
Totally different areas. Yeah.
Wow, 35 houses. I would say I hit 35 and I had scores, but I'm interested in your scores. Are we going to hear about those soon?
Yeah, I mean, definitely when we get to some of the hustles of the week and the BOLOs, I'll talk
Okay.
about some of them. But one thing I noticed, like houses are so different. Like each garage sale you go to, I mean, I've gone to some where people they want to charge you the price for the item that it would cost if it was new, like what they paid for
Isn't
it.
that
Like
crazy?
I paid $20 for this, so I'll give it to you for 19. And it's like, that's I don't know if that's how it works. And then I went to one house in particular where they were almost giving everything away. In fact, they did give me some stuff. They were just like, "Oh, do you have a kid? Here, take these toys." Like, and they had
Nice.
some really nice things. And the bummer was there were other people there too, and some other people were grabbing some of the things I wanted, and they were like, "Oh yeah, all those bags, $2. Oh yeah, that thing, $1." And I'm like, "No, like I wanted that."
Now, here's my question to you. Did you find, so you talk about those houses where they want to sell it as what they paid for new.
Yeah.
Did you at all try to negotiate with them?
You know, I'm getting to the point, especially now that I realize how many different garage sales there are, at least right now this time of the year, that I'll try to negotiate. If it's an item that like I know I'm going to make a killer profit on, maybe I'll negotiate a little bit. But if they're pretty firm and they're not willing to move, I'm moving to the next garage sale because there's somebody else has got something that they will give me for a cheaper price.
Okay. So what about, did you see any, sometimes I find these things at garage sales where they have like the eBay listing next to the item. Did you see any of those?
I have not seen that
Oh,
yet.
those are crazy. That to me is, hey, it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Or my favorite line that I get sometimes is, well, I can get more for that on eBay.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we talked about that a little bit last time too. Was people will say that, but I think realistically, if they were going to sell it on the internet, they were going to sell it on the internet, right? Like I went to one where there was a box full of video games that were like old Sim video games, like Sim 2, Sims 2, or whatever.
Okay.
And they were selling for like $15 on eBay, so it wasn't like an extreme amount. And so I tried to buy the whole box, for like one price, and she wouldn't go down. And she's like, "Well, I looked up each one of the games on eBay, and they sell for about." And I'm thinking, well, then why are you trying to sell them out here instead of just selling it on eBay? Like,
Now, did you pull out your phone and like try to look and like just show her?
I mean, she was right about what they were selling for. She was saying,
Like the
"Oh,
sold listings, not
yeah."
what they're selling for.
I didn't. That was one of those instances where I was like, I'm not wasting my time here. I've got another garage sale that I want to get to.
I get it.
Peace.
I mean, I have had it where there have been items that I really wanted, so I've done it. I've gone to the sold and I say, hey, just I want to be real with you. Like this is what they're selling at. I'm a reseller, and it's worked sometimes. It's still converting to sales, but I would say most of the time, I'm not trying to be rude, but I just say, hey, you probably should list it on eBay. Like this is what it's going for. Go for it.
Yep.
And I feel some justice, and I just walk away.
Yeah. And then the other thing too is people forget. I mean, if you're a reseller, you understand there's the shipping, there's the eBay fees, there's the time it takes to ship. There's
And
all
I
of
bring
that stuff.
I bring that up too. Now, you talked about you were looking into making deals. Did you find yourself able to, like, haggle or get prices down?
You know, I did it was kind of like a mixed thing. It was like I went to some where they were almost giving stuff away, where I didn't even have to haggle, and there were some where they were haggling too hard and they wouldn't budge. And there was a few that I was able to do the, "How much you want for these shoes?" And they were asking $5, and I'd give you $1, and they say, "No, no," and so I start to walk away, and then, "Okay, okay, $1," right? So, you know,
Oh, you did the walk away
yeah, the
trick.
walk away trick. I don't know if that's the best one, but to me, I kind of already had a set in my mind. Like, this is the kind of the return on investment I want on these shoes. I'm not spending more than 2, so if I can't talk them down to $1, then,
Yeah, my favorite line sometimes is when they ask you, like, "How much are you willing to pay for this?" And I always let them know, I said, "Do you really wanna ask me that?" They're like, "Sure." And so I said, "Okay, how about $1?" And I'm not trying to be snarky about it. That's really what I would love to pay
yeah,
for it.
I'd love to have it for free. Like,
Yeah,
you
I know.
really
I don't go free. I go dollar. Like, one of the rules in negotiation I learned early on was you never give the number first.
Mm,
You have to have the awkward silence. Like, awkward silence wins most of the time. So
that's a good point because there's been a few times where I've tried that. You've kind of taught me that, ask them what they will take because then you have a starting point that you can go lower than. Um, And I've tried asking them, and they say, "Well, you make me an offer." And instead of being silent, I give them the $1 offer, but I think I'm a little too weak on it where I say something like, "I don't wanna insult you or anything, but I probably should just be like, a dollar,
just be awkward.
a
Just
dollar."
wait it out. Just like,
Just silence.
good, bad, and the ugly, like with the music in the back, and just stare at them and just say, "No, just come on, just tell me. Like, what would you want me to pay for
Yeah,
this?" And sometimes, you'll be surprised at what people tell you. So, because most people they don't want to, they just want to get rid of the stuff.
yeah,
So, all right. Well, I was supposed to go to auctions, and I did.
yeah. How did it go for you?
You know, it wasn't fun.
No?
But I didn't go to like a live auction. I think that
Okay.
was the problem. I went to the preview. I remember I talked about I
Right.
wanted a preview, and I did. There was like a Bose Wave radio there, and there was a few other items there, and they were good. And then you go online and you bid, but I find that, like, unless I'm constantly checking on it, and it wasn't like eBay where, like, on the eBay app, it'll tell you got, 5 minutes till this closes or 1 more minute, get your bid in. There was none of that. So I put my bids in, and I guess I didn't win. I never
You just
heard
wait
back.
and don't hear anything?
Yeah, I didn't hear anything. And I put in some good bids on some of the items. So I'm gonna start looking for a live auction.
Okay.
And maybe we should do a video of a live auction sometime.
No, yeah, that'd be great because I kind of have worried about those. I've seen those online where you get to go to see the preview and then do the online one, and I kinda get the feeling that, is this gonna be like pawn shop prices where they're trying to sell, stuff for the pawn shop prices or antique store prices instead of garage sale prices?
No, I get that. I would say at this auction, no, there was no reserve.
Okay.
So if you were able to like find something that others weren't interested in, you could have had a score.
Mm.
So it's
But it
a
didn't tell you, like, how many people were bidding against you or what their bids were and
no, you saw it was like eBay kind of like you
Mm,
never see the maximum bid. Like on eBay, you bid and then you put a maximum bid,
gotcha.
right? So you never know what anybody's maximum bid is. So you're hoping it's better than everybody. So if your bid is beat, that means they beat your maximum bid.
Right.
So, all right. Well, hey, let's talk about some current. Wait, I forgot about this. So, Toys R Us is closed. Do you
That's
feel sad about that?
I'm a little mixed on Toys R Us closing. I definitely feel sad, but it wasn't a big store of my childhood. We didn't go a lot, so I
Okay.
don't have that nostalgia there. But I can certainly see that if I grew up going to Toys R Us, like I think I'd be a little heartbroken right now.
See, it was a big deal for
Was
me.
it?
Like that's where I remember getting my Super Nintendo.
Mm,
Like I remember going and seeing it behind the glass case and just eyeing it up. And I remember and not my Super Nintendo only, but my N64 and then the GameCube. It's kind of like anytime a new console came out. I mean, this was before there were GameStops and all these. Best Buy wasn't a big deal yet. Like Toys R Us was pretty much it, or KB or Good Guys. You remember Good
right.
Guys at
Yep.
all?
Yep.
Circuit City,
Mhm.
but Toys R Us was like king, and so it was sad,
Yeah.
but it was also a great opportunity. I ended up going up to LA. Actually, I spent 2 or 3 days. There's a video that's gonna come out eventually. As soon as I'm done editing it, it's gonna be a work in progress. But that's more Mike's deal than mine. But we'll see. So, spend a few days in LA and I try to hit about, I want to say 14 to 16 stores in over
Wow.
2 days.
Did you
But
just clean them out? Like, go in and
You know, it's funny because I've been hitting Toys R Us stores. I do Amazon on the side too, uh, and it's FBA, and so I've been sending out a lot of stuff. So I would say for about since February, I've been going to Toys R Us probably every week
wow.
because there are some stores that started closing in February in the San Diego area. So there was one that was done by the end of March, and then the big announcement came and said they're all closing. So
Mm,
I always learned I was watching a YouTuber and he had discussed that the sweet spot is when it gets to like 50 to 70 is when you really got to start buying. Because once you get to the 70, 80, 90, like it's pretty much junk that's
yeah.
left behind.
All the good stuff is gone.
It's all gone. So I bought a ton of stuff already,
Mm,
but I ended up going and some stores were just scary.
mm.
Like there was like nothing. I'm sure if you wanted to find the Power Rangers, something mighty or something Fortress Zord or something, it was some big old box. Literally every store probably had like 50 of them.
Really? That
And
was, like, the
so
thing nobody wanted?
no, but I'm sure somebody like I actually made money on those.
Okay.
I would say probably back in March I was
Mm.
buying. I think I bought at least 5 to 10 of them, and I bought them for 20. I sold them for 90,
Oh,
like
nice.
really fast. But I don't know where the market's at. I don't even care. Like I'm sure it's bad.
So, question for you, since you are a little bit more in the Amazon game and you do the that portion of reselling, do you think Walmart is gonna kinda pick up the slack of where Toys R Us was? I mean, obviously, it can't devote as much of the store to it, but I've noticed that listening to Pandora, Walmart has got an insane amount of commercials now about being the toy store.
Oh,
Like, we
really?
are yeah, so, like, almost every other commercial that I hear is Walmart mentioning how many toys they have, what types of toys they have, and I feel like they're trying to fill
Interesting.
that void. So, from the reseller side, do you think that they're going to pick up some of those,
I think so. I think I've also heard of KB is gonna kind of make a return. Like they're gonna have like
like the
pop
one
up
in every
stores.
mall, like the KB stores that used to be
Yeah,
there? Yeah,
yeah, like,
okay.
they're gonna come back, they're gonna do, like, I think it's gonna be, like, Spirit of Halloween.
Okay.
You know how they show up for a little while
They're
and then
just
they
around
go
during
away?
Christmas time.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be something like that, so that's gonna be interesting for the reselling game.
Huh.
Q4 is a big deal. With the Toys R Us, what ended up happening, I sent 50% of what I bought into Amazon. I kept another actually, I sent probably 30%, and then the other 20% I'm holding on to till Q4 because again, I keep saying Amazon, like, you really gotta be careful. So Amazon has these new storage limits, and if you don't hit a certain, like, inventory performance index, that
Mm.
already sounds scary. Like, they will charge you for overage in storage,
Okay.
and the long-term storage fees are now being charged every month.
Ooh,
And so you could be paying some hefty prices. Or eBay, you don't have to worry about any of
yeah.
that.
I
That's
mean,
why I
as
keep
long as you
pushing
have the
eBay.
storage, right?
Yeah,
Like,
as long as you have the storage, but you got to make sure that you are careful about what you buy. Like eBay, you buy something and it doesn't sell for a while, you can decide to keep it or
yeah,
donate it.
donate it. Yeah, I've already took a whole kind of stack of stuff to the
Really?
Salvation Army. Not like a lot of things, but a few things that I purchased that I kind of after got home and did more research, like the research I did in the field wasn't as good as it should have been, type of a
Okay,
thing.
okay,
And then I
okay.
get home and I'm like, I spent $1 on this and I thought I'd make 20, and it turns out like I might make 5, and it's just not worth my time to, you know, take the pictures and list it and ship it. So there's a few things that I took back to the Salvation Army already. But what I've noticed with the storage issue, I kind of have a small little corner of the garage, and it was supposed to be like a tote. And then as I've been doing this and have been successful, my wife has allowed me to kind of expand that tote to a few more
Oh,
totes and a
good.
couple of shelves. And
So she's in,
she's
like,
definitely into it, but we kinda have this thing going right now where it's like, wait for a few items to sell, go buy a few more items, wait for a few items to sell. So, at this point, I'm not looking to have, like, several thousand items in a store. I'm looking at having things that are gonna be big profit items that don't take up a ton of space, but as more and more money is coming in, it's gonna be easier to make the argument of, "Hey, let's have the whole garage," right?
no,
Like
I get that. I mean, I started off with, a closet and I had 4 totes in that closet, and then it went into 20 totes in the back patio. Then it went into a whole closet devoted to jackets. So all my kids' stuff ended up in drawers. And then it eventually got to storage units, warehouse.
Speaking of kids, what do your kids think when you bring home carloads full of toys?
I think they're innocuous to it. Like
Okay.
I don't think Like, they don't feel anything anymore.
Okay.
Like, they don't even ask. It just sits there. Like, imagine I took my 7-year-old to, like, all these Toys R Us stores, and never once did he ask for me to buy him something.
Mm,
It was just business. It was just I can't explain it. Now, I did buy him a few things.
right.
You know, I thought it was kinda mean, like, we went back into the hotel room, we ended up getting the suite just so I could put everything together to, like, ship the next day, and there were toys galore, right? So I felt it was really mean for him to sit there with all these toys and not have anything. So, yeah, I picked up a few things here
That's
and there.
cool.
So I real quick, I wanted to share, and a lot of you saw the video that I posted that Freddy Funko. It's like 36-inch display, so about
You
this
should have
tall.
brought it in. That would have been cool to have brought it
Maybe
into
we'll
the
have it in
studio.
here,
Yeah,
and
bring it
may-
in next time.
and maybe I can just store it in here. Anyways, um, and it was scary. The thing was that that day I was pretty much done. Like all the Toys R Us's were like dead. I went to this one store over in Santa Ana, and I knew there were board games there. Like it was one of the last stores that had board games. So I was thinking, hey, maybe there'll be some I can buy to flip. I show up, gone,
Mm,
everything gone. And I see this display, this Freddy Funko display that at one time I had thought about purchasing. Like I thought, hey, they're gonna sell this. Well, what I found out was that the vendor was actually collecting these from stores.
mm,
And so when I saw him locked up in a cage, I kind of felt bad for the Freddy Funko, even though he's not a living being. Kind of weird. But I go, wow, like they're selling this, and they're selling it for 1,000. And the bad part about it is that everybody in the store has sentimental attachment to it.
right, right,
And I was like, oh, this isn't good because I asked right away. I said, hey, so are you willing to work with the price? They're like, no, we really like it. And there's a part of me that believes that they wanted to like buy it themselves, like they're
right.
hoping that nobody would buy it. And so eventually they're like, "No, we're not gonna budge on the price, and you have to carry it. Like, we're not gonna help you." I mean, they're
Like they did
pretty.
not want to sell it, but
I
they were
think I
selling
hurt
it
some
type of a.
feelings. Like I wasn't trying to, and they had told me that they had called somebody else that was gonna come in and buy it, and so I moved on it fast, and I said, "Okay, I'll buy it."
Mm.
So the moment I bought it, I had to go to my car. If you see in the video, I had to go to my car. Luckily, I still had boxes and packing supplies. Somebody had called, no, actually, I had called. Somebody already walked into the store and said they wanted to buy it.
Oh man,
So we're talking about like within a few seconds, like I almost lost out on that sale. So if you go on eBay right now on the comps, they're selling for about 2 to 3 thousand. So I'm kind of up in the air. There's three options. One, I can keep it because I think it's awesome. Two, I could resell it now and make 2 to 3K. Shipping is gonna be a beast
right.
because it's like ceramic, and I'm so scared that
It's gonna break.
it's gonna break, it's
How
gonna
much does it
fall.
weigh?
35 pounds.
35. Okay.
Like, so it was hard to get to the car. I literally had to put it in the box with all the packing supplies and, like, drag it because they wouldn't even let me use one of those U-boat carriers.
Man,
Yeah, they were not,
they
like
weren't happy with
they
you at
were
all.
not happy with me. And
And they've got
so
nothing to lose at this point. Like it's not like you can leave a bad review of their job, right?
no,
Like
I
their
know,
customer
and I
service
get it.
and
I mean, it was their last day, they're out of a job. I mean, it must have been a hard day for
yeah,
them. So I
absolutely.
get that. So got it back to the car, and so option number 3 is, hold out and see in Q4. So I think I may go down that road.
Okay.
So maybe Freddy Funko will hang out with us for the next few weeks.
And with those kinds of things too, I can imagine that over time, I mean, you're gonna have to store it, but over time, the desire and rarity of it is going to keep going up and up, right? Like
Yeah.
as right now, there's probably quite a few people who've purchased, similar ones at stores that have closed down. But over time, like those resellers are gonna not be selling them anymore, and you're gonna be the only one.
Yeah, and if it's true that the vendor was trying to collect all of them, that means there's only so many out there.
Right.
So right now, if you go to eBay, I think I saw 7 that were trying to, people were trying to sell, and that 2 or 3 of them had sold in the last week.
Hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see. So, but Toys R Us, a lot of fun. It was crazy.
So give me a rough estimate. I mean, I feel like everybody in the reselling world, a lot of videos I watch talk about like gross, like how much money they're bringing in gross. But just if you can estimate by the time everything sells, what's your net on Toys R Us closing, you going and buying stuff?
I don't know. And the reason I say this is because I found it's kind of crazy. During, I would say, the 50 to 70% range, I walked into some stores, and I there's a feeling I had that like they were gonna bring stuff out of the warehouse
Mm,
that they just forgot about. Because they I know I saw these signs that said, you know, clearing out the warehouses daily. So, I've worked in a warehouse before and sometimes you forget about things.
yeah, stuff's just sitting in the back on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, so I ended up at one store, there was a whole wall of toys that I knew were released probably early 2000s that were like retired toys
Mm,
that were out of circulation. And I saw a whole wall of them and I bought the whole wall.
nice.
and
Nice.
and I'll show you. There'll be a video on this. I got a whole picture. There's a huge receipt, and we'll talk about that in another episode. So, give you some. So let's say I paid 4K for all those toys. Some of them I've already sold for. Let's say I paid 20. I've sold them for 100. Right. So let's say I have, I don't know, 500 of those items. Right. And I paid $20. We're trying to do some math. What's 500 times 20? That's what,
Oh,
10,000?
don't ask me about math. That's
I think it's anyways, that's why it's hard to tell.
right.
And the other part that I'm worried about is how's the market gonna be,
Mm,
right? Because yeah, I do have this specialty. I have all these items that I bought that I know that, like, nobody else has. So there's one toy I bought that I paid $20 for each of them, and I bought 50 of them. And I go on eBay, and there's only 3 listings,
wow.
and the last 2 sold for about 140,
Wow.
right? So I don't know where that's gonna land. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I a lot of them already have been sent to FBA. I don't try to keep a lot. I'm just holding on to a few things here and there. So we'll just have to wait and see. And what I'm trying to going back to the story is that there is so much inventory that we do not know about.
Right.
Like if everybody was buying the same toys from Toys R Us,
Mm,
maybe everybody's holding on to it in some kind of warehouse, and then when Q4 hits, market's gonna get flooded
yeah.
and prices will go down, or everybody's trying to sell it now. Prime Day is around the corner, so maybe
Mhm.
people have already sent in the inventory. Like, don't know. It could be very good for everyone, or it could be very bad.
And I mean, if you've got the storage space, like if you said Q4 this year, the market might flood with people who are releasing the Toys R Us items. But then next year, who's going to fill that gap, right? So at some point, one point or another, if you're willing to hold on to the stuff, you're going to probably get the money you're looking for each item.
True, unless no one cares about it.
Yeah.
You get the Beanie Baby, phenomenon.
Speaking of which, I saw two of those today that I almost was looking at getting at
Don't do
a
it.
salvation. Well,
No,
here's the thing. So I didn't want to do it, and I didn't, but I looked them up. It was in a package, and I looked up the name of this Beanie Baby, and there were some going for $5 and some going for like 300 of the exact same one.
really?
And
Like
I
going or sold for?
sold for. This was sold for.
Really?
And I couldn't figure out, and a lot of them were saying that it was like an error in the printing, and I couldn't tell because it was in like a new package what the tag said.
Ah.
And it was like, what's the chance that this one's an error? And forget it. I didn't want to hold a bunch of toys in my house. So
But it's worth the gamble, I would have thought.
maybe, but like pick it up for $6, try to sell it for 3 on eBay. Like, I don't know.
No, I get
That
it,
would
I
have been
get
a
it.
real gamble. Like, that's almost like a scratcher, right? Like, open up the tag. Is it the air misprint? Oh,
Yeah.
no.
No, no, I get it. It kinda reminds me anyways, I have another story. When we were young, this is not relevant at all to any of this. My parents, I remember we thought we won $10,000,
Oh, man.
but what ended up happening is they didn't fully scratch it and they missed the decimal point.
Oh, no.
So it was only $100. So, that was pretty sad.
Yep, that'll do it.
Anyways, that's totally off topic. All right, let's get back to the show.
Cool, yeah.
All right, hey, so some current topics. Let's talk about eBay Glitchgate for a little bit. Do you know anything about eBay Glitchgate?
You know, I'm not as into that scene. I don't know as much about it right now as you do, but I have noticed, and I thought it was maybe just you know my phone or because I'm kind of a new user, but like I'm having a hard time getting views on or like seeing how many views. Like I'll look at an item one moment and it'll say like, oh, I've got 63 views on this item. And then I look at another item and it says 0 views, 0 views, 0 views. I go back to that one that had 63 and it says 0 views. And, so there's a little bit of frustration there. Like,
Interesting.
wait a minute. Like, how do I know? Because that's kind of how I can a little bit gauge is my pricing right? Is this in demand? And maybe it's just it makes me feel good knowing that I've got a lot of views on an
Yeah.
item. So I'm assuming that's probably part of this eBay Glitchgate.
Yeah, I mean, the views thing, I think, it's been happening for 2 to 3 weeks. So
Mm,
hopefully, by the time we release this podcast in a few days, it's fixed. But I'm not anticipating that. The so that's been frustrating. I'm not very big. I used to be very big on like, oh, how many watchers do I
mm,
have? But I ended up looking at the metrics, and I would say, out of 10 items, maybe five of them would have watchers. So watchers, unless you have an item that has a ton of watchers, they're not really a determinant whether something's going to sell.
gotcha.
Sometimes people would just want to know, are you going to make the money that you're trying to sell it for?
You just crushed my heart a little bit right now
I'm
because
so
I've got a
sorry.
few items and I've got up and I've got like 1 or 2 watchers on them, and I'm like, "Okay, this has a watcher, maybe it'll sell." Right,
No, I
right.
get it. I get it. No, but sometimes I watch things and I'm just
Mm.
like right now, I think every Freddy Funko I'm watching
Oh, man.
and maybe everybody else, and I'm just watching because I want to know what it sells for. Like I'm not
Gotcha.
gonna buy it, so who knows? So there's that. There's the bigger one is the pictures.
Mm.
I don't know, have you heard at all about the
I
pictures?
haven't had any problem with pictures. What's going on with that?
So what's going on is pretty much people have lost all the pictures except for their main gallery picture on their listings.
Like, losses and it's no longer on the listing at all.
No, yeah, like, so if you were to let's say you wanted to buy something for someone, like, you would go and let's say it says 8 pictures, you start clicking, and after the first picture, there's no pictures.
So even on yours, like on the seller one, like, so it's not just that the customer's not seeing the picture, but like the picture's gone. Like you can't even, so you would have to go, because like right now I'm thinking about if this was me, I've got items in totes, in bags, packed up on a shelf. If I had to go get all of those items down again and take pictures of them, that would be devastating.
I know, well, and it is devastating. I mean, there's a lot of people that have things saved, like, on a Dropbox account or some kinda cloud, but, like me, once I list them, I, like, deleted my pictures.
Yeah, and I mean, if you do it on your phone, it doesn't save the picture on your phone. It just, the picture immediately goes from the eBay app to the eBay, so it's not being stored on your phone at all. So,
Yeah, so there's a lot of people that,
oof.
are gonna I've heard of some going back and, like, retaking pictures. I'm not gonna do that.
Mm,
I just there's just too much inventory. That would be nuts.
right,
Now, I am trusting that eBay, and I've said this a lot. I kind of had mentioned this on the Rally Roots. They had this live show this past Sunday, and I had commented on this. And actually, Ryan Roots had brought this up that eBay is a company that wants to make money, right? And the way they make money is because they're sellers
right.
selling items. And so I truly believe that they're going to do everything in their power to make this right.
Mm.
I've already heard of some sellers that lost a ton of pictures and they've gotten some of those pictures back. So I would tell everyone, like, hold steady, hold tight, see where this goes. I think eBay will make this right because it's a big deal to eBay to let this keep happening. And hopefully I'm right and I'm not wrong. If I'm wrong, don't know where things are gonna land. That definitely will be interesting.
Do you think they're gonna just make it right in the sense of, uh, fixing the problem, or do you think they're going to try and compensate, like, because so many people are affected, we're gonna give everybody 100 free listings, or do you think they
It
might?
might go down that road. Some people have talked about that. I know there's another a YouTuber, Lindsay Glenn. I just saw on her Instagram that she said that she had this rant that she made on this. I think it was on the video, or I saw the Instagram one, and eBay had personally contacted her
Mm,
and said they wanted to make things right. But basically, she had been communicating that if you are one of those people that had this glitch affect them, to call eBay directly and let them know what's going on. Or you can also go to Twitter, ask eBay, and let them know through that format. So we'll see.
mm,
Uh, I don't think it's affected me yet, but I'm kind of scared. Like I don't want to look.
yeah, yeah, no,
Like
that would
I'm
be
just
scary.
trusting that it'll get. And maybe that's unwise. I'm still selling items, so I'm thinking people are seeing pictures. And okay, I did. I looked at maybe 10 items and I didn't see any, so I'm just gonna let it go.
Alright, nice. Yeah, another one that I saw that might, I don't know if this is part of the same, glitches or bugs that are happening right now. I'm at a place where I'm ready to start my first store, right? Like, I've gone from, I'm just listing items, and luckily eBay has been giving me, I'd say every month for the last, 2 months that I've been listing stuff. Not only have they upped a number of listings I could list, but, like, I get some kinda special where it's like, from now until the end of July, you can upload 1,000 listings for free, right? Like no
Okay.
listing. And so I'm getting a lot of these. So I haven't really had an issue, but I'm getting more and more items in my inventory. So I'm thinking, okay, it's time to get a store. And when I go to start the store, it says I'm not qualified because I need to link my PayPal. There's no like, it doesn't matter what I do, how I click it, it says I'm linked. I've as soon as I click on it, it just brings me right back to the same page. There's nothing I can do. And I've looked it up and there's quite a few other people having this issue right now. So
Okay. Wow, that's interesting. That's a new one.
yeah,
Like, no one's talking about that one.
I might have to call. I mean, because I've looked it up and it looked like there's been posts on the eBay like help support site as early as like 2014 up through 2017. I was seeing that this was an issue, so it might be a reoccurring thing. It might be an issue with PayPal. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, keep me posted. Keep us
Yeah,
posted.
yeah,
Let
for
us
sure.
know. Also, you know, the eBay markdown limitation, not too big of a deal, but well, I don't know. Maybe it is to some. So basically, you can't actually now you can, but initially you could not put items that you had newly listed on sale for 14 days. And so that hurt a lot of people. Myself, I always put things on sale like right away.
Mm,
So I put them at the price I'm hoping to get, and then I have these small windows that I like to put the sales on. And supposedly sales, again, we'll talk about this in our conspiracy episode. Sales are supposed to like work with the algorithm and put you higher on the
mm.
page. So eBay actually, and you saw this on our Instagram at Pure Hustle Podcast, had this past Fourth of July. Actually, they're working on Fourth of July. That's some respect there, I would say.
Maybe
This was at
respect.
7 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning. They basically had stated that sellers can now add items as a markdown sale event, even if the listing was previously in another sale event within the past 14 days, as long as the listing price has not been changed. So as long as if you haven't changed the price, you're good to go.
Oh, that's nice.
So
Is that something you need a store to do? I haven't done any
yeah, you need a
sales.
store.
Okay.
So, and I would say once you get to a certain amount, I would say once you get to 25 or so listings, I don't know where you're at, but maybe 50, it's probably good to get a store
Yeah.
because you can see metrics, you can see sales, you can see all these different things. It's really helpful.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready to get to that point, and then eventually you get the shipping
Yeah, you get some
discount
free
too.
shipping
Not just
supplies.
the supplies, but don't you get potentially if you're like a top rated seller, you can
Oh
get
yeah, it's
discounted shipping?
huge. Like sometimes it's 25% discount,
Wow.
sometimes it's 40% discount.
Hmm.
It all depends. So
Okay.
I definitely go down that road. So if you're a new seller and you're questioning whether you should get an eBay store, again, we are not sponsored by eBay, right?
Nope. No,
Okay.
no, no.
But I strongly recommend you get a store, at least a basic store. I'm at the mid level and it's paid off. I'm getting to a place where I may need to go next level, but I don't know if I can pay 300 a month.
Oof.
That's
That's
pretty hefty.
that's hefty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll see where we go with that. And then the last one, free returns. So to be a top-rated seller, and this isn't Glitchgate, this is just eBay policy now. To be a top-rated seller, you have to offer free returns, meaning that you will pay the shipping on an item that someone is returning.
Mm,
And so it doesn't matter whether the person didn't like the item, whether the item was defective, whatever reason, if there's buyer's remorse, they should be allowed to return it for free, and that's
mm.
affected a lot of people, especially people I think that sell hard goods.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Like I sell a shirt and it's free return. I'm out $3.
Right.
It's worth it to me if I do the math with the top rated seller ranking. But if you sell hard goods, I think that's a hard one, especially if you sell big items.
Yeah. I mean, well, and if you're getting the discount, for instance, the first time to ship it, do they get the discount to ship it back
Yeah,
to
there's
you?
still a discount, I
Okay.
believe, but it's still like you're losing
Yeah.
money.
Well, and there's probably a point where it's almost worth it to say keep the item, right? Like by the time I pay for you to ship it back, depending on how much you made off it, but by the time I pay to ship it back, it might not be worth even relisting, right? Because
Yeah,
now,
and
by the
sometimes
time,
I tell people keep it.
mm,
But the interesting thing about it is that even Amazon doesn't offer free returns. So Amazon, I don't know if you've returned items on Amazon. Like the only time you get a free return is if something doesn't work or it's
mm,
defective. If you put something like I don't need it anymore, or I change my mind, or I found a better price, they charge you shipping.
mm,
So it's kind of interesting that eBay, it kind of seems like they try to kind of be current with everyone else, that they're very different in offering these free returns. So we'll see if they keep to that. Because I've heard from a lot of sellers that they're just gonna what they're doing is they're either charging $1 extra on handling time
mm.
or handling, or they're upping their prices, or they're doing some way so they can secure the fact that they're gonna end up losing money on
Do
returns.
you think though that just having that little free shipping little star button that's on the item might be enough to get you more purchases. People are gonna be more willing to buy from you. So over the long run, even if you do have to pay for a few to come back, just having that is gonna, like, psychologically, people are gonna be more willing to buy from you knowing that it's free
That's
returns?
eBay's argument. eBay's argument is if people feel safe, like, so for instance, if you go, there's two similar items. One is no returns, and the other one is free returns. You find safety in the fact that, hey, this person is willing to take back my item if I don't like it,
Mm,
right? Where this person, no matter what, they don't want to take it back. So maybe, maybe they're being shady. Maybe, not saying that's the case. And I respect a lot of resellers that don't do the free returns. Trust me. But eBay's argument is that people are going to be more willing to buy because they're going to feel more comfortable in the experience.
right.
And maybe there's truth to that. Don't
Mm.
know.
'Cause, I mean, that is a fear if you're a buyer buying something used is this really in the condition that somebody says that it's in? And I think that the ratings probably help a lot with that, but, I mean, having that free returns probably does help a lot of people that are maybe a little concerned, but then at the same time, if you're the unlucky one that has all of those random returns for no other reason than somebody gets it and then decides, buyer's remorse, so never mind,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
could be
want
true.
this 36-inch, 35-pound Freddie Funko.
Oh man, that would be terrible. And then what if it's
Yeah,
destroyed?
yeah. I mean, because 'cause they're the ones packaging it and, ugh,
Oh, that's scary. Okay, great. Now
sorry.
you got me
You're gonna
thinking
lose some
about that.
sleep on that one.
Yeah, maybe I need to go local on
Ugh.
that one. The other thing that I've also heard about this free returns, which could work in the favor of sellers, is that I've heard that eBay will now side with sellers that have free returns. And let's say, for instance, sometimes you get this item not as described. And what I've heard is that eBay will side with sellers because they'll say, well, item may not have been as described, but there's free returns. So in the
Mm,
end, it's not costing the buyer anything to return this. And so if you get a negative feedback, it's possible that eBay may be willing to work with you.
mm,
Do not, what I'm saying is ultimate eBay policy. That's just what I've heard.
okay. Yeah,
So
I mean, I think, just looking at all of this stuff in general, I mean, eBay, like you said, it's a business. They've got more at stake at this, honestly, probably than we do, right? Like, they want to make our experience and the buyer's experience the best it can be. So if there's things that are wrong right now, they're either gonna fix it or they're gonna go under. And I don't think they wanna go under, right? So
yeah,
so I would say, new coming into this, I see frustration from people, but at the same time, I kind of get a little bit of, there's I don't have as much to lose, so I'm not as frustrated, but I kinda have some confidence that the market's gonna work itself out, right?
yeah, and it's kind of I call it the Jack in the Box rule. So Jack in the Box and Chipotle's gone through this where, they had like some food poisoning or some E. coli or something years ago. I don't know if do you remember that?
Yep, I do.
And I always made the argument that after that happened, Jack in the Box was probably the safest place to eat
Mm,
because they're going to make sure that never happens
yep,
again. They do not want that publicity.
yep,
And so I think the same is true with eBay. Like this has been a big deal. I mean, people are pretty angry about Glitchgate. They're angry about the pictures missing. They're angry about the fact that this came along at the same time as free returns. And so I think eBay right now definitely wants to be in the corner of
mm,
sellers. And so I will have to wait and see eBay opens around the corner. So we'll see what they announce at eBay Open.
yep. This is a little bit off topic, but your little Jack in the Box thing reminded me of it. Uh, Years and years ago, Del Taco got sued because people were saying they didn't have, it wasn't real beans, they were using, like, some fake powder
I think
beans.
I've heard of this.
They
Yeah.
got sued, and it came out that they were the only fast food restaurant in their kind that was actually using real beans,
Really?
and so their all of their slogans and all of their stuff was, "Thank you for suing us. We are the only ones with real beans," right? Like, so it actually helped them out. So,
Wow.
kind of a little off topic, but,
That's interesting. So let's. I want everybody to be encouraged. Let's look at the upside of this. Let's keep listening. Let's keep selling.
Yep, cool. Alright, so what else we got? Alright, new things learned. So, I feel like I always have a ton of stuff to learn, but what have you learned? I mean, you're the
So
veteran here.
yeah, no, yeah, but I say better, but I still got to learn. What I've learned is you always got to be ready to make that purchase.
Mm,
I've had like with that Freddy Funko, like luckily I had the capital to buy that. And what I find is I've had so many different scenarios where I would go to a garage sale and I didn't have enough money.
mm,
And so I had to go back to the bank. And it's kinda here's a funny story. Have I shared the story about, like, those boots that I bought, like, 70 pairs of boots?
Mm.
Do you remember that
You
story?
told it to me, I don't think we've mentioned on the
I didn't tell you
podcast.
all the bad parts of that story. Okay, so
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
so I ran into a sales rep for a boot company at this garage sale. So he was selling all of the boots that were factory samples. And I should sell, this is for another podcast, but he was selling all these boots that were factory samples that he shows businesses for them to buy wholesale. So he was just trying to get rid of them. So I show up and I go, wow, like I could sell all of these and they would sell really well. I probably could make a lot of good money. And so I only had so much cash, and he goes, "Okay, I'll sell them all to you." And we negotiated a price, and I was short like I don't know $200-300.
Mm,
So I said, "Hey, where's the nearest bank?" and so on. And I am directionally challenged,
mm.
like without GPS. Like again, if I was reselling before 2007, before the iPhone, it'd be terrible.
Yeah, no.
I couldn't even find where these locations are.
Yeah, MapQuest and garage sales, that'd be
Oh,
the
that'd be
worst.
a mess. So I left. And he gave me I said, "Is it this street?" And let's say it was, like Main Street. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, it's Main Street." Well, it wasn't Main Street.
Mm.
So I went to the bank, and there's another incident at the bank. That's for another story. I'm waiting for time to pass, but I thought somebody had taken my money from the ATM, and that was a whole nother story. So I'm already frazzled from that scenario, and I put this address in the GPS, and I can't find his house.
Oh, no.
Okay, so I'm talking about major score. I'm talking about like $3,000 profit kind of score. Okay,
Oh, I'd be
like
sweating it.
packing out the Honda Pilot kind of score, and I couldn't find the house. And this was in a subdivision where like 5,000 houses, not 5,000, that's exaggerated. Okay, 300 houses and 8 subdivisions in each. So 8 times 300, so about 2,400 houses, all look the same.
Oh.
I was so
How long did it take you to find this house? Because I mean, you got the boots.
2 hours.
Oh,
2 hours. I mean, I literally and I was doing the calculations in my mind. I thought, "Okay, if I sell all these items, it's still worth it to me to keep driving. If
yep,
I drive until midnight
yep.
from this was about 9:30 AM. By the way, I keep telling people, keep grinding. This was at 9:30 AM, by the way. Garage sale had already been going on for 2.5 hours, and no one thought about buying this guy out.
Hmm.
So I thought, hey, if I drive until midnight, I'm still gonna have a mega score. So I'm gonna keep driving till I find this house. Now, here's the catch though. I do have a reseller business card.
Mm.
So I gave him my business card. So at noon, he gives me a call and goes, "Hey, are you still gonna pick up these boots?" And I said, "Yes, I am."
Mm.
And I said, "Where you gave me this address?" He goes, "No, no, no, that's a cross street.
Oh,
This is the street." And sure enough, within 15 minutes, I got there and I was able to still get those boots.
nice. Hey, that I guess there's a case to be made to have a card, give your contact information out if you're making those kinds of contacts, right?
Well,
Like,
and what I'm saying is be ready.
yeah.
Like have if you need to go to, Vistaprint or whatever and get reseller cards made. I mean, think about it. It cost me $50 for those cards,
Mm.
but in the end, it saved my hide. Like I ended up still making, I'm still making sales on those boots.
Wow, that's nice.
And, same thing with this Toys R Us that I came across. Like had I not had the capital, I wouldn't have been able to make that purchase.
Mm.
So always be ready, and part of that is make sure that the money you're making from eBay or whatever platform you're using, you're putting it right back into the business because there's going to come a day where you're going to need that capital.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I would say, I mean, everybody's got to have you've got to have your own model, right? Like what works for you, what works for your family, what works for your goals, what it is you're trying to do with reselling. For me, I've been kind of paying off the fun things that my wife and I and my family have been doing, like going to different amusement parks and going. That's kind of it's been our fun money, right?
Yeah.
So what I've been doing is I take whatever the initial investment was, the cost of the item, automatically when that sells goes back into the business. Then about 50% of the profit goes back into buying more capital. And then I kind of split up the other 25 for my fund money, 25 into like long-term savings, whether it's like stocks or something like that. So I'm diversifying the income that's coming in, but I'm pouring the majority of it back into buying more items. That way I have the capital. Yeah, if I find that big score, it's not going to be an issue to say like, okay, this is going to cost me $1,000 today, but it's a $10,000 buy, so it's worth it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you got the model down. I mean, that took me a while. I remember when I was first reselling, like I remember I would use that money like all the time. I'd go
Mm,
out to eat, or my kids were like, "Hey, I want to go to the movies," and eventually I learned like I need to keep this money
yep.
because I'm gonna need it at some purchase, and I don't know when, but I have to be ready.
Yep.
So, how about you? What's something you learned?
All right. So one of the things I learned, yeah, I mentioned, different garage sales people were kind of giving things away almost, right? I mean, one literally gave me some stuff, but um, I went to one where the guy wasn't giving stuff away, but his prices basically were. Like, he had whole bins of stuff, and the bins were like, it said $1 or $2 or $3,
Wow.
and the things that were inside of it were, like, nice things, but, like, some of it was junk and some of it was nice, right? So you kinda had to look to see what was what, and there was one bin, and it said $2 each, and inside the bin were a bunch of binoculars and some other things, right? And so I'm standing there and I'm looking at stuff, and so I pick up one of the binoculars and I start researching just that binocular, right?
Okay.
Like, they're nice. They're not like cheesy binoculars. These are like nice looking binoculars. And there's I think 5 other binoculars in there. And another guy walks up on the other side of the table and reaches in and grabs one of the binoculars and then another pair. And I see him reaching for the third because as soon as I
Oh
looked it up, I
man,
see that they're selling for like 40 to $60, right? And these all have like similar name brands. Like 3 of them were the same, 2 of them were different, but it was also a good name brand. So like I'm grabbing the other 2, so like both of our hands are like reaching for the same ones and like almost like a
this
fight
is
pulling them.
intense.
And my I guess what I
Reality show
learned, yeah,
status.
it was pretty intense. Like I thought we were gonna get in a fist fight over these binoculars. But what I learned is you've gotta do the research, but you can't if you've got a hunch, if you think it might be something, there's no harm in just picking them all up and holding them all, right? Like if there's like
Correct.
10 of an item, just grab them all, put them in a pile around you, and then look it up, right? And then if they don't turn out to be anything, go put them back. But if I'm looking up one of them and then somebody else comes and grabs the other 9, I just lost out, right? So I guess what I've learned is if you think it's something, grab it, grab all of them that you think might be worth it, look it up, and if it's not, put it back. But I guess I was a little too timid, and I lost out on 3 pairs. I think he got 3 and I got 2.
Oh
Of
man,
yeah.
and you were the first one
I
there.
was the first one there. I
Oh,
was
I'm so
looking at him.
sorry.
I probably for like a good 40 seconds, I'm like typing this in and looking at it, and then another guy just swoops up and starts grabbing 'em as I've got the bin in front of me, but it wasn't like enough in front of me, right? So what I learned is be aggressive. Don't be so aggressive that you're like throwing elbows, right? But
Yeah.
grab the items, look at it, protect what's yours until you decide that it's not worth being yours.
Okay. And how much? Well, how much were the binoculars going for?
$2. Yeah.
$2. So my advice would be next time, just buy the whole bin.
Mm,
Like if you see 2 or 3 that you could sell for decent profit, it's just worth it to you to just buy it all.
mm,
And then you might end up donating or tossing 1 or 2, but in the end, you rescued or you kept those
right. That were
ones that
worth
you
it.
wanted.
Yeah.
Because I've done that before where I've gone someplace and I see a lot of junk and I see a lot of good things, and I see people come in,
Mm,
and I'll just look at the person. I say, "How much do you want for all of it?" And I'll just buy it, and then I'll sift through it later.
mm.
Because yeah, sometimes you get in those scenarios, and man, I gotta tell you, you gotta hustle out there.
Yeah, you do. I mean, I'm learning that, and I'm learning that there's a lot of people out there that are hustling. Like, I didn't see like the same people at everyone, but I saw people that like you can almost tell right away when they'd pull up and they'd start looking at stuff that okay, this person's reselling, right? So I mean, it might be one of you listeners out there, and there's
Right?
nothing like, hey, good for you for being out there, but you've gotta hustle harder, right? Like, that's the thing, and so, there was another instance that same day where I was looking at a DVD VCR combo, and I grab it, and I'm asking the guy about, if he had a remote for it, and as I'm holding it, there's a lady standing over my shoulder waiting to see if I'd put it down. And she's asking, yeah, remote, and so she's asking about the remote
Oh
too,
wow.
and then I asked him how much because I had already looked it up, and they were selling for, like, $60, and so I asked the guy how much she would take for it, and he says $2, and you just see this other lady's eyes, like, get really big, and so I'm like, "Okay, I'll take it," and she just boom, head drop, right? Like, so she was bummed, but, that time I had already learned the lesson, like, grab it, don't just stand and ask, like, hold it in my hands as I'm asking about it, right? Because I don't want somebody else to come up and say, "Oh, I'll take that."
Yeah, okay. I got a similar story. So during this Toys R Us hustle, I was looking at Legos, and there's this big set, and I picked it up and I put it up and I scanned it on the Amazon app, and I was trying to see how much it's going for. And while I'm scanning it, this dude comes up from the site and starts grabbing it.
Oh, man.
And I look at him like, I'm buying this. Like, what do you think you're doing? He goes, you already got that one. I'm like, no, 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 no. Do you see I'm working on this? And then he just went ballistic. He goes, yeah, you came in with your cart and you almost ran over my son. And this kid's just like playing, like nothing happened. I said, what are you talking about? You understand, like you're getting angry at me about Legos. And he's like, mother F and blankly, blank,
Oh,
blank,
man.
blank. And then, so, I network with people. So the Toys R Us employees are looking at me and they know me.
Yeah.
And I just said, listen, man, you don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. And I can be intimidated sometimes. And he backed off, and it's funny. Two grown men, right? Over
Right.
a Lego. But
Over Legos.
I wasn't fighting now. I'm just like, dude, back off. Who do you
Yeah.
think you are?
Oh.
And then Toys R Us employee me goes, we can get him kicked out for you.
Mm.
And I said, nah, it's all good. We'll let it go. But again, that was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, phone there. I picked it up. Like, it wasn't for him to take. Now, some of you out there might disagree. Maybe, like, the fact that I hadn't purchased it was still for a game. But I truly believe once you're scanning something, like, that's yours
Yeah,
for the
it's kind of like
moment.
it's in your cart. Like you can't shop out of other people's carts, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
there's
no,
like a
you got to watch
personal-
out. I've seen people take stuff out of carts in
Oh.
thrift stores. You got to be careful about that one.
That's crazy.
I'm serious.
Oh,
All right. Anyways,
okay.
okay.
All right, here we
Let's
go.
talk about hustle of the week. Hey,
Hustle of the week.
so.
Oh, wait, before we do hustle of the week,
Yeah.
guys, listen up. If you've got a hustle of the week, hit us up. Instagram, Twitter, right? Just Pure Hustle Podcast, hashtag Pure Hustle Podcast.
Pure Hustle Cast on Twitter.
Well, that's at Pure Hustle Cast if you want to like actually call us out on it. But if you type in Pure Hustle Podcast on Twitter, we're looking for that. We'll find it. Let us know what your hustle of the week is, right? So if you're finding something that's big, if you get a good sell, let us know. We'll shout you out. We'll talk about it on the show, and we're sharing the information, right? So we're all kind of helping each other.
Yeah, and if you want to email us, that still works.
Yeah,
We have an email.
We've
You
got a
can
phone number, call us.
Yeah, it's on our Insta, it's on our Facebook. We're at purehustlepodcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
Again, purehustlepodcast@gmail.com if you want to email us. You can also call us. We also have a Google Voice. You can leave a message. It's about 3 minutes long, and so you could also contact us there. That's at area code 619-738-1170. That's 619-738-1170.
Hit us up.
Yeah, give us a call, leave a message, and we'll play it live.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, not live, but we'll play the recording live while we record it.
And then you get to show all your friends, right? Like, hey, check it out. I was on the podcast.
There you go. So, yeah, please. And actually, talking about that, I want to give a shout out to, somebody we contacted earlier today, and we were talking about what's your hustle of the week, and I want to give a shout out on Instagram to Thriftzilla. If you're not following Thriftzilla, if you go on his Insta, he has a lot of great items he's picking up and he's reselling. And so one of the things I took a look at, he had this old school Panasonic radio that he picked up. And so I DM'd him and I asked him, hey, talk to me about this. Can we share this? And he was great. I mean, really sociable. And he had told me that basically he had gone to this estate sale and there was a resale agent that was just pretty much trying to get rid of everything in the house so they could sell the house. And he picked up this Panasonic radio. I believe he said that he picked it up for about $2, $3. You can check it out. And he ended up selling for about, taking a look here, for $35 plus 99 shipping. So he paid $3.
Wow.
$3. So not bad at all. And, he not only bought that item, but he bought several other items during this estate sale. He ended up purchasing a VHS VCR combo, an entire bookshelf of books. He didn't even tell me how much he got that. I'm guessing he does some Amazon FBA, and 2 military canteens.
Nice.
And so definitely a hustle.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know-
Congratulations, Thriftzilla. That was a good one.
Yeah, and he also had mentioned, I'm just going to say what he meant. He also had mentioned to check out somebody else's name is Ed the Thrift Lord. These are some awesome names,
That's a pretty good name. Yeah.
And he had picked up like 50 plus NES mini systems shipped to Amazon. So
Nice.
that's good. And actually, I see those systems. I'm kind of back and forth because the market's volatile on those. But hey, thank you. Are you going to edit this out? Me fumbling with his
No,
name?
it's good. Keep it going. Thriftzilla.
I want to say thank you to Thriftzilla. We'll actually put his handle name on our YouTube We'll also put it on our podcast, just a shout out. Thanks so much for contacting us, and all you other resellers out there. If you got a score or hustle of the week you want to share with us, those of you that are new, just starting, if you're excited about something, share it with us.
Yeah, I mean, because what it doesn't always have to be like you're not having to make $10,000 on an item, right? Like that was a $35 profit potentially. Um, any kind of profit you're making at all, if it's your big one of the week, you're learning something new. There's something else to look for. That's a good hustle. So you want to hear mine?
Yeah, sure.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Let me give you my hustle of the week, and
Okay.
then I want to hear yours because yours probably outdoes mine. So I was at a garage sale. This was a couple weekends ago. I don't think I've talked about this yet. I bought
Mike
a
always holds things from me.
yeah, yeah.
We're
I
not married, so it's okay.
I bought a satellite phone, right? I did tell you about this. I just didn't
Like a
talk about
Jack Bauer kind of satellite phone?
yeah, like what are they like the GPS, the world satellite phones? You could talk to
Really?
somebody anywhere,
Like
right?
your
Like
CIA garage sale or something?
yeah, it was the weirdest thing because there was nothing else electronic there, and it was in the bottom of like a shoe box, and there was some other like components to this.
Interesting.
And so I asked the guy, I said, "So does this?" I looked it up, um, and they're selling for quite a bit of money for like 150, right? And so I asked the guy, I said, "Does it work?" And he's like, "Nope." He says, like, "It turns on, it powers up, but the screen doesn't work," right? And so, sure enough, like, I put the battery in, we tried it, and the screen didn't work. So, what I ended up doing is he gave me all the pieces to it. I was able to talk him down to, I think, 3 or $4. He wanted, like, $20 for it. I got him down to 3 or $4, and I split it up into, like, different listings. So, I listed the satellite phone with the 2 batteries it came with and the wall charger
Okay.
not working as is. I like took all the pictures, explained, turns on, screen doesn't work. And I think I sold it for like 49 or $59 for just that piece.
Wow. It's pretty
Then
good.
I took the car charger because I saw some people were selling just the car chargers. I took the car charger and that sold for $35.
So you parted it out.
I
We had talked
parted it
about
out.
that
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
one of our previous
Yep. So I
episodes.
parted out and I still have an antenna adapter piece that hasn't sold yet, but comps are selling for about $35. So I did pretty well on this, like, an
That's
item that
good.
didn't work at all, and I was kinda like, "Okay, I'll spend the $4, doesn't work." And parting it out into its pieces, I ended up, I think overall it's gonna be probably plus or minus somewhere around $100 profit on this satellite phone that didn't work.
You
So,
always get these. You tell me I'm gonna give you a better hustle, but you get these sweet deals.
it was a pretty good hustle.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
I
good.
felt good about that.
Nice. So my hustle of the week, it's kind of I've been in this Funko kind of world.
Mm,
So I got Freddy Funko. I would say that was a hustle. I ended up selling like this Joker Funko Pop from like Comic Con. I bought it at a garage sale maybe a year ago for I want to say like $5 to $10. But it has some creasing on the box, and collectors are big about that. But I still sold it for $50, so that was nice. But it was kind of interesting. So on Monday, I went to Target because there's some toys that are gonna be released, and I think they're gonna be big sellers for
mm,
Q4. And I went, and you saw this in my Insta story. And I went, and I'm in line, and you never know why people are waiting outside the store,
right,
right? So I'm like, are these people really here to buy toys? Like maybe this dude, like his wife, like said, you better get this before the picnic,
right,
right?
yep,
Or somebody, they forgot something for work and they're just waiting for the doors to open. So I'm there and I'm like, I don't think anybody's here for anything, right? Doors open and people are like moving. Like 3, 4 guys are like moving. I'm like, what? Where are they going? Okay, maybe they're going to the shoe section, or maybe they're going to electronics. No, they're all going to toys.
huh,
So I'm like freaking out, like, no, like I don't want to have to like deal with other people in competition. That's one of the things I don't like about Q4. Like,
mm,
I love the hunt, but I don't like it when it's like super intense. Like,
right,
I just get anxiety about it. So they're going, and then I see them like they all get in line. So I'm like, I'm gonna get in line.
yeah,
Maybe they're, and I don't know why. So I ended up being the second in line. And what they were selling, where I guess there's these limited release like Harry Potter Funko Pops.
nice,
I had no idea.
huh,
And so people are not going to be a fan of mine after this. So there's only 4 of this, like, I think it's a 10-inch. I think his name is Doppy. Like, I've never watched a Harry Potter movie or read a Harry Potter book. Okay. So there are 4 of those, and then there are like 4 other Bazillas or something. Maybe I'm getting the name
Mm.
wrong. And they're like, "Hey, are you guys out here for that?" And I'm like, I look at it, look at the item. I'm like, "Yep." And they're like, "Well, we only have 4, so who are the first 4?" And I'm like, "I'm number 2."
Nice.
And I ended up buying, those 2, and I know one of them I paid 30, flips for, anywhere from 70 to 100, and the other I think I paid, I wanna say 15 to 18, and that one's flipping for like 70 to 80 right now.
Nice.
So the reason it's a hustle of the week is kinda it goes in theme with the thing I've learned is that you always gotta be ready,
Right.
right? And the
Like,
item
you
actually
didn't walk into the store to buy that, but you realized that was a thing, so you bought it.
yeah, so I flexed and I bought it and I ended up making money. And actually, the items I went there for are not being released yet.
Mm.
So I'm not sure how people got their hands on these items, but they have them. They're just not allowed to sell them yet. So people have kind of hustled their way in other stores. So that was kind of a cool hustle of the
Nice.
week.
That's a good one.
So the only thing I don't like about items like this is like I always worry that something's gonna happen.
Mm.
So the other day, I asked my son, like, I purposely moved it out of my car and I put it in a place in my house, going, there's no way it's gonna get damaged. I asked my son to take out the trash, and like
Oh,
he
no.
dropped something on the box,
Oh.
and I'm like, no. And I don't think there's a crease. I think it's a developing crease. And I put some things heavy there on top of it so like it doesn't develop, and I think it's good.
Okay.
But again, that's one of the reasons I'm not a fan of collectible things
Yeah.
because you got to make sure they're pristine and
Everything
mint.
stays mint. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was a hustle of the week.
Cool. It's a good one. Yes. If you've got yours, make sure to share it. We'd love to hear.
Yeah. And how about bolos? Let's talk about bolos now. Since we're
Bolos. Yeah.
do you have your bolo of the week?
Again, I feel like I always have the least to offer on this one because I haven't been doing this as long as you have. One thing I've noticed that I've seen at quite a few uh, garage sales that I haven't even really spent time looking into. And finally, I was at one and I grabbed it as a bundle for something else because I was trying to talk a guy down.
Okay.
But I've seen a lot of like audio equipment that's not like the typical audio equipment, but like microphones and like things like that.
Okay.
And I feel like microphones sometimes are a dime a dozen, right? Because there's like the karaoke microphones everywhere that probably are worth nothing. But I found a microphone that just looked like it was one of the many others that I've seen. And I look at it and I grab it and it was a little heavier than other ones I've actually picked up. And I looked it up and it was selling for like $100. And
Really?
I was able to talk the guy down to 10 because I bundled it with something else. But I just think back to all of the garage sales that I walked by microphones, and you never know if somebody was like a hobbyist for a little while. You know, they were doing singing in their garage or they've got a little band going. So they end up going out and spending money on band equipment or microphones or things that I have no idea that world,
Okay.
but they have it and so then they sell it. So be on the lookout for not just a cheesy karaoke microphone, but like audio equipment that you know, learn the brands, right? Like, I don't know all the brands, but start looking at that because I see them everywhere, and now I'm thinking, "I need to learn some of these brands 'cause there's some money to be made."
True. And you always have to expand your knowledge
Yeah.
base. I mean, I keep on Insta, I keep saying that. Like, you got to keep, growing that.
Mm. Good. What was your BOLO?
So my bolo, and this is what I wanted to share, and I was going to share this last time. I kind of held out. So I sold this a little bit ago, but there was a time on eBay where everybody was getting into mesh trucker hats,
Mm.
and I remember there was a time I could sell a mesh trucker hat for like $50 to $80. Now I still can every once in a while if it's a vintage one, it's something that people want, it's unique. But an item that people look past sometimes are like old like company hats.
Mm.
Okay, so something I sold, and I'll post this on the Insta. I sold a Wiener Schnitzel hat. Okay,
Wiener Schnitzel employee hat.
all
Fantastic.
right, right. It's kind of like you'll see on the picture. It's like I don't know. It's like puffy, like small brim.
Yeah, like a old, like, train conductor
Yeah,
hat
they're
looking
kind of
thing.
like
Yeah.
that. And I remember I picked it up for 10 cents. It was kind of like a lot. I remember I picked up, I think, I want to say like 50 hats for like $10,
Mm.
and I listed it for 75 bucks. And it's funny because, I'm sure some people are like, "That's crazy, like, you won't get that." And I ended up learning a long time ago that if it's something that's not listed,
Mm.
and this is part of like, the last podcast, right? I go, "Sky's the limit." I
Yep.
didn't try to list this for
$1,000
$1,000,
bucks.
okay? But I did list it for 75, and sure enough, I sold this old employee Wiener Schnitzel
Wiener
hats
Schnitzel hat.
for $50.
That's a good one. I mean, just thinking of all of the things that I pass up when I'm in a thrift store and you find, a brand shirt that you like, but it's like, oh, it's branded for, some Ford business or some, it's got a brand on it, some business. And so I pass it up, but there's probably somebody out there who used to work for that company that's like, hey, I wore one just like that back in, the
Yeah, I mean,
70s.
just nostalgia or
Yeah.
whatever. It was funny. I had this lot of 5 Sony hats, and they were just very basic, like it said Sony and then San Diego or something. And I think I bought, I think it was 5, but there was like 10 hats. There's other hats from other companies, and I think I sold each of them for about $25 to $40.
Nice.
Right? And these were things I really didn't think I was gonna
Mm,
sell right away, but they sold within a month. And maybe I should have sold them for more,
mm.
but it was interesting. So just be on the lookout.
Yeah, old vintage company logo apparel is good to go.
Yeah, and again, we said this in our last podcast, do your
Yeah,
research.
don't see one for 30 bucks and say, "Well, I hear they sell for 70." You check to make sure that there's
Yeah,
not
because it could
100
be
of
a
them.
hat that was, like, mass
Yeah,
produced and there's, like, 20,000 of them and there's no value to
yep,
that hat. So,
cool.
alright, well, we're almost coming to an end
Yep.
here. What are you looking forward to?
I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to, and I saw that you posted something similar to this on I think it was Instagram. The last week or so, I've done some shopping, and I just haven't had time. I've been doing some other things to actually do listing, right?
Okay.
So, I probably have 50 to 60 items that need to be listed. I'm looking
You mean
forward
you have death piles
I
already?
have death piles, it's terrible. I'm looking forward to listing those items and being able to sleep better and actually make money on those things, right? Because right now it's potential profit, but it's not as potential profit as it can be as soon as it's listed. So I'm ready to have that off my chest to list those items and start making money.
I feel your pain. I mean, you saw those videos about those 30 shirts that I took a
Yep.
picture of, and then I measured, and I still haven't listed them,
Oh man.
right? And it was interesting. That could have been the hustle of the week. I would say probably half of those shirts were new with tags too.
Wow.
So I'm gonna make money on those shirts. I just gotta list them.
Gotta list them. Is that we'll talk about that in another episode, maybe some of the motivation behind different aspects of reselling, right? Like, it's a lot of fun, at least for me, to go and buy stuff, not as much fun to list it.
I don't know. There's some people that find it peaceful and relaxing.
Really. Yeah, and so I think that's, everybody has their thing, and maybe how do we make it so we enjoy all of it? So, cool.
So what I'm looking forward to, I would say I'm looking forward to good garage sales. I did, today I posted on Insta. I ended up picking up some Bose speakers, some Doc Martens shoes, some Reebok blacktop pump shoes, and that was all good. But I haven't had a garage sale where like my trunk is like packed, like I
Mm,
can't fit anymore.
mm.
So I'm hoping that this weekend, when you and I go out, or at some point in time when we hit the garage sale Saturday morning, that I'll eventually have to say I can't do anymore. Like my trunk is full. I haven't had that happen in about 2 months, so I'm
Hmm.
looking forward to that.
Cool. Well, there we go,
Well,
right?
we'll
Some things
see.
to look forward to. Hopefully, you guys get some good thrifting and garage sales, and make sure you're on the lookout for those items we talked about. And if you've got something that we should be on the lookout for that maybe you've realized over the years or just realized is a thing, let us know. Hit us up.
Yeah, hey, and make sure if you watch our YouTube, please like and subscribe. Our YouTube's kind of hurting a little bit. Just we want some love on there. Feel free to comment. We'll
Yeah.
make sure to comment with you. You can also again find us on social media, Instagram and Facebook. We are Pure Hustle Podcast. On Snapchat and Twitter, we are Pure Hustle Cast. You could also contact us on email, purehustlepodcast@gmail.com, and give us a call at 619-738-1170. Hey, I want to give a shout out again to Thriftzilla. Thanks so much for contacting us and sharing with us your hustle of the week. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Hey, thanks for listening to episode 4.
Episode 4.
Continue listening, and we love all the support. Appreciate all of you. Thanks so much.
All right. So make sure that you be real
Be relevant.
and be reselling.
Lates.
Peace.